Hey, so I just got out of my 36-week OB appointment. Nothing has really changed, doing really well. I'm thinking that maybe the little episodes that I was having last week might have just been anxiety. I've never had anxiety before. I've never really had a panic attack that I know of, or an anxiety attack or anything like that. So I'm not sure if maybe it was anxiety or not. It has nothing to do with my blood pressure, so that's good. And I haven't had it since last week. So perhaps it was just kind of a bit of an anxiety attack of the unknown, not knowing when baby's going to be here, and just too many. I like to plan things. I'm a planner. So with all of the unknown, it would kind of make sense that it's a bit of, maybe I was having an anxiety attack or something. But I haven't had any since last week, or perhaps 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half. But it's been a while since I've had it, so I'm going to say that it's resolved itself and we don't have to worry about that anymore. What else? We did enter a lockdown on Saturday, so I did double check with the OB to make sure that Josh was still able to leave and go and get food and stuff like that. Basically, I just said I need a heads up if I need to pack a camping cooler full of food or not, because everything's open and everything's closed and everything's up in the air. So far he's still able to go and get food for us when we're in the hospital. If we don't like any of the food, or if we're just extra hungry or whatnot, we are allowed to still go get food as of right now. I just did my Group B swab. They do that at 36 weeks here. So I'll have the results of that next week. If you're positive, you do have to have antibiotics before the baby's born. I've been negative on all of my other 3. I don't think that guarantees that you're going to be negative for this one, but because they do it every time. So I'll know next week if I have to have antibiotics ahead of time or not. We also solidified an induction day for April 27th. And for any of you that watched last week's video, you'll know that my second, Jonathan, his birthday is the 27th. And I just found out that he actually wants the baby to be born on his birthday. He was upset when I came home last week and told him that the induction date is probably going to be April 28th, which is the day after his birthday. And he was kind of upset about that. So I think he'll be excited, for now anyway, that the baby might be born on his birthday. I don't know how well that's going to go into the future if they share a birthday. Josh and I might discuss that and see if maybe we can push the date up a little bit more if we feel like Jonathan's not gonna like sharing his birthday for the rest of his life with his sibling. But we'll see. So for right now, induction date of April 27th. We're allowed to go get food. Nothing else has really changed, honestly. I still feel great, actually. I did go and get a fitness ball, yoga ball, so that I could bounce on that, because our kitchen chairs are becoming quite painful for me to sit on. So, and then also so I could just kind of bounce around on it and help maybe soften things up or loosen things up, if that's a thing. I did ask my OB about the Midwife's Brew and whether I could take that after I was about 38 weeks, because here, for those of you that don't know, I am in Canada, in Ontario specifically, and 37 weeks, your baby is full term, but it's still considered preterm for a week. So 38 weeks is really when they are full term, I guess, but they're still full term at 37 weeks, but still they would prefer, if you're going to do anything, for it to be after 38 weeks. So I asked her about the Midwife's Brew, because I've been watching videos about it and it has helped kickstart people's contractions, but they have also complained that it's pretty nasty to drink. So I asked her if it was something that I could take when I was past the 38 weeks, She basically said that there's no scientific evidence that the Midwife's Brew actually works. She says it's mainly the lemon verbena tea that is the active ingredient in the Midwife's Brew, but apparently there is a small study and it's only this specific lemon verbena tea from Germany and a certain type. So other than that, castor oil is basically just a laxative, and the other two are just to make the whole drink potentially taste better. So if I don't need to subject myself to the Midwife's Brew, if it really tastes that gross, I'm not going to. She basically said when your body is ready to go into labor, any type of stimulation can have your body go into labor, whether that's sex, nipple stimulation, bouncing up and down on a ball, anything like that will just help stimulate labor. She says the castor oil basically would just act as a laxative and inflame your bowels, which could cause uterine contractions and it could not. So if your body is actually ready to go into labor, drinking the Midwife's Brew could push it into labor, but so could any of the other natural induction methods. So I might leave that Midwife's Brew alone if I don't have to subject myself to drinking that. Then awesome, because a lot of people say it tastes really gross. Some people, they get contractions for a little while and then they just stop and nothing happens. So I don't really want to have to drink it and then get excited that I'm gonna have contractions and go into labor and then nothing happened. So I might look up some other natural induction methods to see if they're gonna work or not, but I'm just gonna wait till after the 38 weeks. Mainly just gonna stick with that fitness yoga ball, bounce on it, and hopefully maybe that'll help soften my cervix, potentially maybe dilate me a little bit just to get things going. Oh yeah, she did say with the induction, because I asked her what time I'd have to be in there. With my third baby, Josh and I had to be in there for 8 a.m., but they had put the Foley catheter, the Foley bulb in the night before. And so I had that in all night, was getting great contractions. And then basically at like 10:30, 11, I think it was, I passed out. I was tired. I fell asleep, contractions stopped. And then at 8 a.m. the next morning we went in, I was a 4 and they started Pitocin. So she said, depending on how much I'm dilated on the 27th, or the appointment before the 27th, they'll see how dilated I am, and that will see whether they need to do the Foley bulb or not, or if we just start with Pitocin. I'm really honestly hoping that I just kind of go into labor before all of this. Like I said, I don't really want to have to subject myself to a COVID test 3 days before and then have to go through Pitocin and an induction. I know Josh and I, as of this video, haven't done the birth stories, and I really want to do the birth stories because, like I said, I've had 3 boys and their birth stories are so completely different from each other. 2 of them were inductions and even they were different. My water did break with one, but no contractions. One, I went into labor all on my own. So it's just hard because he works from about 7:30. He leaves at 7:30, doesn't come home until 6 o'clock at night. And then right now he's also doing a course in his off time. He's doing a mutual funds course. So that takes up time. And then he also committed himself to helping a friend mud their kitchen because he really likes mudding, like the drywall mudding. So he is off doing that as well. And then we're also trying to get the baby room cleaned and organized and finished. We do keep the crib, well, we keep the baby in our room, and we usually just keep the crib with it at the higher setting in our room for the first 3 months, because then the risk of SIDS is greatly reduced after 3 months. So we just keep them in there, keep them close for the first 3 months, and then we shift them over into their room. I didn't really want to have to go out and buy like a bassinet to put beside the bed and then also have a crib. So I mean, if worse comes to worse, we have a playpen that we could use as well. So I didn't want to go out and spend a bunch of money on things that I might not use. And honestly, I don't think I would ever use a bassinet because the crib It's from IKEA. It's 8 years old now, and it works like perfectly fine. I might end up getting a new one if we do have more babies, because it is starting to, not that it's loose, not that it's like unsafe, but with it being 8 years old, I am kind of weary on how much longer it's gonna last, but it'll do for this baby for sure. So we've been trying to get all of that organized. I'm also trying to I did get all the ingredients to get lasagna ready and freeze for whenever we're gone, because we are looking at about three weeks now. Today, I think, that is my induction date. So I want to get a bunch of lasagnas or pastas made and frozen for whoever's going to be watching the boys, to be able to have dinners that they can throw into the oven and just cook, so they don't have to worry about what to make for dinner. So we're preoccupied with that. Also, it's spring now, so trying to get some of the yard work done. We are big on helping, the bees and the pollinators and stuff like that. So we're not raking gardens or anything like that yet, but we are cleaning up a bunch of just the small brush piles that were laying around, and just kind of tidying and organizing the backyard. So with all of that, Josh and I have not had a chance to sit down alone and be able to just sit there and tell the 3 birth stories, but it is on my to-do list. Also, I don't know if any of you guys have ever co-slept, but we were not planning on co-sleeping with Joseph, who's our third, the last child right now. We were not planning on co-sleeping. And then because I breastfed and we kind of would get tired, and he did not ever want to take a bottle, so pumping was not an option. Like, we tried it and stuff like that, and it, like, I could pump, stuff like that, but Joseph would not take a bottle at all whatsoever. We went and bought 3 different kinds of bottles. Didn't matter if it was the wide lid, if it was Medela, if it was Dr. Brown's. We have, I think, 4 different types of bottles at our house, and he did not want any of them. He just wanted to breastfeed from the boob. So that was fun. But he also had this thing that he knew the second that you put him down. And there were many nights that I barely slept at all, because I would finally get him to sleep. I would put him down, and the motion, like, he didn't matter how slow you put him down in the crib, he knew when you were putting him down, and he would start crying and freak out, and you'd have to start all over again. And I got sick and tired of it. I needed sleep, because I have 2 older children. Joshua's my first, Jonathan's 2 years younger than him, and then there's 4 years between Jonathan and Joseph. And I needed sleep to be able to get up in the morning, get them ready for the day, whether that was getting them ready for school or whatever. Right now we're virtual schooling, so that's a lot of fun. But I needed sleep. And so we started co-sleeping, and now it is even more fun trying to get him into his own bed. We have succeeded. Our crib goes into a day bed. I didn't try that approach just because we need the crib. I found out I was pregnant last August, and we knew we'd need the crib. So I never broke the crib down into a day bed. We actually got a toddler bed, which uses the crib mattress. But we got that when Joshua was about 18 months old, so he could get used to being in a bed, so we could use the crib for Jonathan. And we've held on to that toddler bed. So we tried to put Joseph in the toddler bed. He wanted nothing to do with it. He liked somebody falling asleep with him beside him. So what we did was we actually went and got a bunk bed for the older 2. They're in a bunk bed right now. So now we have their old single beds, because we have a 4-bedroom house. We have their old single beds, and Joseph has now a single bed. And I actually, the lucky guy, he gets my maternity pillow, because I figured with my maternity pillow, it's 3-sided, And so I figured the pillow on both sides of him might feel like somebody sleeping next to him. So right now, we started about maybe a month and a half ago of just falling asleep in that room and in his bed, and it's going okay. Sometimes he'll stay in there for half an hour and come out, but I am very diligent about going back into his room, going back to sleep, whether I'm lying beside him, and then once he falls asleep, I'll go back into my room. There's been about maybe 3 or 4 nights that he's actually lasted the entire night. But other than that, usually at about 2 or 3 a.m. I cave and I just kind of toss him into our bed in the middle and he sleeps the rest of the night there. But I feel like it's an achievement at the fact that he will now, and since day one, he will fall asleep in that room. It's just when he's waking up in the middle of the night, he's looking for somebody, nobody's there, and then just getting past that speed bump now. But we are making progress, so he's not falling asleep in our bed anymore, because with the new baby, I can't have the co-sleeping. I don't know how well it's gonna go. Joseph is such a mama's boy, and Josh hasn't even attempted putting him to bed. I don't even know. We might have to try that and see how well that goes, because if I have to feed the baby and Joseph needs to go to bed, it might get interesting in the household to see how well all of that's going to go. But obviously, I will keep you guys updated. Hopefully within this next week, Josh and I can find some time to get the birth stories done so I can get them up and you can hear about those 3 birth stories. Because I know when I'm looking on birth vlogs and looking at people's birth stories and their history on YouTube and stuff like that of past births, I like seeing the different variety of one person going through multiple births and how they're so different and how they felt through them, just so you can, in my own mind, this is my 4th child. I've given birth 3 times before. I know I can do it. I just like to kind of play through as many scenarios as possible in my mind, so that way nothing surprises me. Because as you'll know, once we do get the birth stories up, Jonathan's birth was pretty traumatic for me. A lot of things were a surprise. Nothing. Josh and I don't even bother doing birth plans. We just kind of take it as it goes. But I always do want an epidural. I don't want to subject myself to that much pain if I don't have to. It's never been a want for me to go through childbirth naturally. I just want to enjoy the birth and not have to focus on breathing and be exhausted. And if that's your thing, amazing. And I give so much kudos to the women who that is theirs. One of my good friends has had 3 home births. Her first was a hospital birth, but all 4 were done naturally. 3 have been home births. And I find that so amazing for her. That's just not what I want. And that's not what I've ever wanted to do, was to give birth naturally. So now, because of what happened with Jonathan, and I just like to know all the different scenarios that might happen so I can kind of plan for them and things like that. So like I said, Josh and I will go through the birth stories hopefully within the next week or 2. I'd like to get them all done, honestly, before this baby's born, so that way we can kind of compare after this baby's born and say oh, hey, this was kind of either Joshua or Jonathan or Joseph's birth, or completely different. So again, we still don't know the gender. I have so many boy clothes, so if it's a boy, I'm set. If it's a girl, then my best friend and my sister-in-law have a bunch of girl clothes. And you don't really have to buy all that many clothes, honestly, to keep a kid warm and clothed, as I've learned. So it's not going to be too big of a deal if it is a girl. I can contact either my best friend or my sister-in-law, ask if I can borrow the clothes, and then just start slowly accumulating my own clothes. But other than that, I don't really have anything else to update. My next appointment is next week. So I will see you guys next week and let you know what's going on. Have a good week. Hey, so I mentioned in my video that I got fitness balls or yoga balls or whatever you want to call them. Joseph wants to say hi. So I just wanted to show you the one that I got. I did some research and it said that for my height, I'm 5'4", and it said that I needed to get a 55 centimeter ball. And so I did. And when I inflated it last night, my knees were not at a 50-degree angle. My knees were sitting higher than my waist, but it also does say that you kind of have to inflate it the best you can for 24 hours and then deflate it 50% of the way and then inflate it and it'll go up more. But even now when I sit on it, it's not high enough. So I'll show you what I got. So this is the ball. I got it from the Superstore. It's Everlast Fit. It's Everlast, which is a great company. We have like boxing gloves by them and skipping ropes and stuff like that. Just this size of ball isn't going to work. So I did go out and I got a different one that was 65 centimeters around. It says that it's for people that are 5'6" or 5'8" up to 6'3", but I think that's more for fitness, because whenever I Googled asking about like specifically birthing balls, my height of 5'4" was the start of the 65 centimeter ball. So, and I'm like 5'3", 5'4", so I got both, honestly, because the boys could definitely use the smaller one to like work out on if they wanted to. I could probably use it after I give birth to get back in shape and get some core exercises going on both of them. So I'm waiting right now to get the other one full. Like I just inflated it a few hours ago. So tomorrow I'll take the pin out, deflate it some, and then reinflate it and see how that goes. But initially sitting on the ball, I feel like my waist is still lower than my knees. So I don't know how well this is going to go, but I wanted to get a ball because number one, it is super painful to sit on my kitchen chairs, like I mentioned. And number two, I wanted to get one to bounce on, see if it helps induce labor naturally. I have no idea if it actually works, but I see a lot of women, especially like if I'm going to be laboring at home at all, I do see a lot of women bouncing on the ball and using them just to kind of like hip movements and things like that. Using the ball as support for when you're having and going through contractions and things like that. So I just wanted to have them around, and honestly, for the last couple hours, the boys have been working out on them. So I think it would also be a great fitness tool for them. So once the ball is more inflated, I'll show you what it looks like. It's a different company. I think it's Inspire or Spire or something like that. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's fully inflated tomorrow when I inflate it more, and I'll let you know how it is. But as of right now, the 55 centimeter, I'm just sitting on it again. Yeah, the 55 centimeter ball at my waist is lower than my knees, and I'm 5'4". So I definitely think the 65 centimeter ball hopefully will work, because I don't want to have to go out and buy a third one, because they're like 25 bucks each. Like this one I got at the Superstore and it was 25, and then the other one I got at Canadian Tire and it was 30. So I don't really want to have to go out and get a third one of 75 centimeters, but I don't know, we'll make it work. But I just wanted to let you guys know that. Also, I was thinking about my update from earlier and letting you guys know how I'm doing and how I feel. And there is one thing that I have been noticing for the last couple of weeks, which is just like, obviously your pelvis is a lot looser this far into pregnancy, and I have such a hard time when I first stand up to walk anywhere. I have such a hard time literally just like moving a leg forward. I have to kind of like breathe through it and encourage myself, and I know the first few steps are going to be painful and then it'll all get better, but that's pretty much the only thing, is just stiff joints. So if I sit in one spot too long, I just get really stiff. Laying down kind of helps, but I don't want to lay down all the time because my kids are pretty active, as you could probably hear in the background. They're just playing in the playroom and stuff. So that's the only, I guess, negative thing that I can think of is like symptoms or something of pregnancy, is just my hips are super stiff, and I get the occasional sciatic nerve pain / pain like at the top of my bum. The muscles up there get really stiff and sore. So I've been trying to like just kind of like rub them. I know you can put a tennis ball on the wall and just kind of like move it around to massage deeper into the muscle. But it hasn't been so bad that I can't walk. I used to work at a physiotherapy clinic, and I've seen some women, we did pelvic floor physiotherapy as well. And a lot of women have such bad sciatic nerve pain during pregnancy and right after birth. I feel so bad for them, because some of them like can hardly even walk. So my pain is not anywhere near that. It's just that first initial getting up and trying to get moving sucks. And then once I start moving, it's fine. But then if I'm moving for too much, like too long, then it starts to get sore again. So anyway, I'm having a good week so far. And like I said, I'll let you know what the ball looks like when it's fully inflated and how well it is. Like I said, you're supposed to have a 90-degree angle when you're sitting on the birthing ball. So right now, obviously the 55 centimeter isn't working, and I'll let you know how the 65 centimeter is. Like I said, I'm 5'4", so I'll let you know how the 65 centimeter is for me, just, you know, in case you want to use it as a gauge for yourself. So see you later. Hey, so I just wanted to check in and give you an update. I did deflate the ball that I bought yesterday and reinflated it, and it's perfect. I'm sitting on it right now, and my knees are at a 90-degree angle. They're not above or below my hips. They're like perfectly perpendicular to them. So I just wanted to let you guys know, and I'll show you the ball I got. Like I said, I got it from Canadian Tire, but if you're not in Canada, you obviously can't get it at Canadian Tire. So I'll show you what the company is. Oh, it's Ignite. Let me show you. It's really cool, actually. I really like this ball. Hang on. So this is the ball. Ignite by Spree. I don't know. But it has, I don't know if you can hear this. But it has these little beads in the bottom. So as you can see, it's not rolling away. It stays put because of the beads in the bottom of this. And then it also has like an anti-burst, and it's more like grippy. So yeah. So my plan was actually, there was another ball by a company, it's a Good Life Fitness ball, and it was, I think, 23 plus tax. And I was going to get that ball because it was the cheapest one. I had just spent $25 on the other ball I bought. And so I was just looking for a cheap one. And I saw this one beside it. And honestly, what really made me buy this one, it's $30 plus tax, so it's a bit more. But just the fact that it had the beads in the bottom, just to kind of help you not, like, it just doesn't roll away when you stand up and stuff like that. So, and of course having 3 boys in the house, I knew that the likelihood of the ball being thrown around the house was pretty high, and I've been right, because the other ball has been thrown around the house many times. But this one kind of like lands, it might bounce once or twice, but it doesn't really go anywhere because the beads in the bottom, once it has enough like counter force, it just stops bouncing and sits there. So, and then my other thought too was just the extra grip and stuff would be nice. I mentioned in my video that sitting at the kitchen table, getting up from the table, I think it's maybe just the chairs, I don't know, but it's super uncomfortable and my hips start hurting so bad. So I'm really glad this ball works, because I'm going to be using it as a chair for the last 3 weeks, because I have just under 3 weeks until my induction day. I'm really hoping that this baby comes before induction day, but you never know. And the last day is going to be April 27th. So, and I told my son, Jonathan, it's his birthday on April 27th. I told him that that's my induction day. And he was so excited until he realized that I wasn't actually going to be home on his birthday, if that's the case. So he was a little upset there. But then I explained this is the only year, maybe, but it's the only year that I won't be here during his birthday. But he gets the best birthday present of all. And he was super excited. He's like, a baby. So anyway, I just wanted to let you know, because I said I'd check in after the ball had been inflated for the 24 hours and then I'd reinflate it. And I'm glad I read the instructions, because it would have really ticked me off because I don't normally read the instructions. But I reinflated, like let it deflate a bit, reinflated the ball, and it's perfect. And like I said, I'm 5'4". This is a 65 centimeter ball. So, and it works perfectly for me. It bounces nice. I sit the way I'm supposed to. So I'm quite pleased with it. And I am probably going to keep the 55 centimeter ball, because the boys have been doing little workouts on them and I'm okay with that. So it's not really $25 wasted when they're actually using it and staying fit and healthy. So anyway, other than that, nothing has changed. So I will let you know if anything changes. And if not, I will see you next week on my 37-week update. Have a good day, guys.